We start with some breaking news, and in the last few minutes, President Putin has appeared to indicate that he may be ready to talk about reaching agreements over the war in Ukraine. Well, with me now is retired Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. And Sean, this could certainly be game-changing.
It could be, but I think we've got to be very, very careful about jumping to conclusions here. There's the first intimation that Russia might be willing to start talking. If you look at this from a grand strategic perspective, over the last month we've heard the German Chancellor Scholz talk about the potential for talking. We've heard President Macron talk about the potential for Russia and the whole idea about NATO expansion. We've heard about President Biden talk about talking, and now we're hearing just the potential for Russia to be involved. I'm pretty sure at this stage that Putin would desperately want a pause in the fighting. His army is battered, he's running out of supplies, he's on the back foot, and winter is not being kind to the battles on the battlefield. But from President Zelensky's perspective, I cannot see for a moment that he's going to be in any position to negotiate at all. I think we've got to be really careful here. I think on the spectrum of there's no chance of negotiation to ultimately this will end with a negotiated settlement, we're looking for a binary answer. All we're hearing at the moment is maybe we're seeing a slight nudge towards the day when potentially talking might start, and it'll be sometime after that when we'll get any form of negotiated solution.
And Sean, we've also had that sort of stop-start attitude throughout this war. Putin says one thing 1 minute and then actually restarts once he's gained a little bit of power and ammunition. Could we see something like this happening, or could we actually get to a stage where we see an end to this war completely at some stage?
That's a very, very
it's
good,
$1 million
complex question. I think one of the things we do know is that regularly we report on what Putin says, and actually what he says has got nothing to do with what's actually happening on the ground. Part of the background to this statement was he was talking about the Minsk agreement, which was an agreement in 2014-15 around the Donbass region that was brokered as a bit of a peace thing, and lamenting that that was not followed. But if you actually go back to 1994, the Budapest memo, when Russia, America and Ukraine signed up to Ukraine giving up nuclear weapons, and Russia said it would absolutely respect the borders. Russia's absolutely walked away from that. So I think we've, again, got to be really careful. Putin picks his moments for a domestic audience sometimes an international audience. I think we've got a long way to go yet before we're anywhere close to having a negotiated settlement.